Hello, denizens. Well, looky here. We got us a real, genuine network sitcom. A new one. Not some remake like Night Court or Frasier. Shifting Gears starring Tim Allen and Kat Dennings. I know most of you out there have abandoned network TV because network TV abandoned us. They got hooked on endless police procedurals and cheap reality shows while the executives were lured away by the siren song of streaming. What was the last network sitcom? Abbott Elementary, American Auto, Grand Crew, Extended Family. Have you heard of any of them? And don't get me started on American Auto. Just awful. What they do in the shadows is hilarious, but it's on FX. When the Shifting Gears teaser appeared on YouTube, there was actual excitement, interest. People really love Tim Allen, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's put Shifting Gears through our green light or not process. There will be spoilers. Number 1, the premise. Riley, played by Kat Dennings, somewhat estranged daughter of Matt. Her dad, played by Alan, has just gotten divorced from some ne'er-do-well musician and needs a place to stay until she's back on her feet. In tow are her 2 children. Widowed dad and daughter do not get along, but he lets her move in. Now, this is not an original idea. A few successful shows used it, as have many more failed sitcoms. Some shows that come to mind are Empty Nest, Too Close for Comfort, Mom, and even All in the Family. If you have others, put them in the comments below. So, not really an original premise, but one that resonates today. I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. Number 2, casting. Tim Allen and Kat Dennings alone are enough to give this category a 10 out of 10. The supporting cast of Daryl Mitchell and Sean William Scott are pros. The kids are very good. IMDb showed that Jenna Elfman will be in the mix in future episodes. I'm getting an executive boner just thinking about this crew. 9 out of 10. Next is, does the show have a home base? Shifting Gears actually has 2, and they both work perfectly. The garage, where we get to see classic cars, that gives us that manly home improvement vibe, and the home. 9 out of 10. Number 4 is great stories, well written, and here it gets a bit sticky, because while it's clear Tim Allen plays his prototypical right-of-center boomer, Katz's, Daryl's, and Sean's characters are missing in action. Riley is just Kat Dennings retreading Two Broke Girls. As I always say, pilots are a bitch, but at the very least, you have to nail the characters. It has tons of jokes, maybe 10% land. None of the scenes with Daryl and Sean work. They are actually quite embarrassing because there are no stakes. It screams hoary old family sitcom, which in this day and age I have a problem with. But I'll address that later, as this is exactly what the producers were aiming for. So the question I have to answer is, as a hoary old sitcom, did they succeed? Because there were no real stakes, no real conflict, and Tim and Kat were not oil and water enough for me, I would say no. But as a vehicle for Tim's monologues about what bugs him, that worked. So I'm giving this a grudging 4 out of 10. Regarding production values, the multicam shoot with high-definition cameras looked great. It's well lit. The only issue I had was with the balls-to-the-wall laugh track. It's bad enough when the bad jokes are hammered hard, but even the non-jokes got pushed. I've been there. This is something management demands. More laughs. But the line wasn't a joke. Sweeten the fucker. So, is this a personal taste thing or actually a production values issue? I found it so irritating, I don't care. The trick to a laugh track, and I'm going to piss all of you off by saying I don't mind them in some usages, is to hammer the good jokes and leave the other jokes alone as just banter. They don't need sweetening beyond the twittering from the live audience. If you're trying to prove that sitcoms are not a dead art form, then Shifting Gears is not going to do it. The look of the show gets a 9 out of 10, but the laugh track brings it down to 4 out of 10, because I'm mean. 6, returning to equilibrium. If you've watched my green light or not videos before, you know that I'm a big proponent of this. Sitcoms need to reset to its original state by the end so we can start from ground zero the next episode. Growth is not a feature of sitcoms. I've argued that point in this video. I'm not exactly sure what the comedy equilibrium is for Shifting Gears. Tim and Kat start off at odds, have issues both political and personal, but hug at the end and seem to have resolved their differences. There is a button ending where Kat makes a horrible scone or something and the insults fly. I get it that things will be situational, but at this point, other than Tim Allen, I don't know why I'd watch this. 4 out of 10. Number 7, does it have legs? Sure. You have a bunch of characters, can be involved in any number of soap opera situations. Plus, it looks like they are setting up a Riley and Gabriel to be a thing. Now, I'll give this a 7 out of 10. Finally, the creative team. So this has some history. Michelle Nader is listed as executive producer and showrunner for Shifting Gears, but she replaced Mike Scully and Julie Thacker Scully, who served as writers, executive producers on the pilot, but exited mysteriously before the project was picked up to series. Nader's background includes serving as executive producer, showrunner on CBS's Two Broke Girls and Hulu's Dollface, both starring Dennings. Maybe Disney ABC liked the potential of the show, but disliked the pilot as much as I did, and that's why the original team was turfed. Two Broke Girls did not turn my crank, and I never saw Dollface. Disney seems to have a lot of confidence in Nader, but I don't. Plus, this just does not smell good. 4 out of 10. Before I count things up and give you the score, let me offer some personal observations. I love sitcoms, but I also understand that they have to evolve with the times. Single-camera sitcoms feel more modern, but there's no reason a multi-camera sitcom can't work. Blackadder was hilarious. The trick is that it has to be funny, and it has to have stakes. It has to have situations that we will anticipate with some anxiety, and characters have to be unique and clearly defined. The pilot for Cheers did this brilliantly. Matt and Riley should have been at each other's throats. Did someone demand that the show had to be more of a gentle family affair? Sure, probably, perhaps. But Shifting Gears lacks originality and bite. Orange County Chopper was funnier and had more drama. Perhaps Tim's character should have been modeled after Paul Tuttle's seniors. There was an odd, hyper-political Nancy Pelosi joke at the end, which I thought was weird because the woman could very well have died before the show aired. And does everyone really know who she is or cares? It was an obvious dig at an as yet uninaugurated president who will remain nameless without a commensurate retort from Tim. I found that was not just odd, but a missed character-defining joke opportunity. The total score is 47 out of 80. Not a very good score. The only reason I'd greenlight this show would be the star power. Otherwise, the pilot was very weak. The only scene that worked was actually the one in the car with Matt and his grandkids. That was really actually quite good. I do not have the benefit of seeing other episodes produced by Nader, and while I'm certain this show will rate well, I would not greenlight it just based on the pilot. On a side note, Tim has a pickleball rant. It appears in both the YouTube trailer and the show. Curiously, the punchlines are different between the two. In the YouTube trailer, Tim says, if you can call it a sport while holding a Chablis, while in the actual show he says, a tumbler of Chianti, which I guess the writers thought was funnier because Chianti has that K sound. Did you see the show? What did you think? Till next time, denizens, be seeing you.